Okay, everyone, good evening. We are going to get started. My name is Dr. Naa-Solo Tettey. I am the creator and director of the HeartSmarts program. Welcome back to the Food as Medicine series. I hope you all didn't miss us too much last week, but more importantly, I hope everyone behaved themselves during our week off and is still on their wellness journey. Tonight, we have an amazing set of presentations for you as we continue to learn more about food as medicine and the various healing properties of food, and making sure that we are eating to live and not living to eat. Next week will be our last session for this series, and so I will share more at the end of this meeting who our presenters will be next week. For those of you who just joined, I asked at the beginning that everyone share, or if you would like to share in the chat how you're doing today, how your progress is going with your sprouts, your wheatgrass, your raw foods journey, or anything at all, how your day is going, anything that you'd like to share with us, you can put it in the chat. And so as always, we will have our presenters share, and then you all can put your questions in the chat, and I will ask whatever questions you have once the presenter is finished. We have two presenters today, so we will start. I'll share the bio of the first one, and then we will move on to the second presenter. Give me one moment. All right, so our first presenter is Yuta Braun, Urban Farming Advisor from Microhabitat. Microhabitat is focused on urban farming for change. Their mission is to build a healthier society and world by reconnecting people with nature and their food. They do this by transforming unused spaces into urban farms. They hope to create greener and more resilient cities through urban agriculture and cultivate cities to consume better and live better. Right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, and so welcome, Yuta, to the HeartSmarts community. And Yuta actually sent me an email earlier this week, just seeing if I'd be interested in learning more about Microhabitat. And when I saw his presentation, I thought it would be amazing to share this with the HeartSmarts community. And as you all are listening to him and watching what he puts on the screen, I want you to think about how what he's sharing might benefit any organizations that you are a part of. So he's going to show you how you can create more opportunities for farming and growing your own food, as we've been discussing the past few weeks, but how you can do it on a larger scale, whether you belong to a church, a community center, work for a hospital, a school, anything like that, where perhaps outside around the space, there's not space for doing things like farming, but he's going to show you another option to do that. So I want you all to kind of think outside the box and think about how this might possibly work with any organizations that you are affiliated with. So Yuta, I'm going to stop spotlighting myself, and then you can share your screen. And if you have any questions, or if you all have any questions, you can post them in the chat, and I will ask them once Yuta is finished with his presentation. So welcome, Yuta, to the HeartSmarts community.
Hello, HeartSmarts community. Thanks for having me. It's a real honor addressing y'all. I admire the journey that you're on and your dedication. And thanks, Dr. Tettey, for having me, giving me the opportunity to address you. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And Microhabitat in a nutshell. So we're an organization that started in 2016 with really focus on making food accessible to the general public, specifically in urban contexts. So I'm sure you're all aware with the food desert concept, where essentially it's just the metropolitans are getting larger and larger, and humans' connection to nature and to greenery and sustainability is getting farther and farther. And we really wanted to come up with a model that is dynamic and applicable to any space. And we've been growing rapidly. So the last year we've been exponentially growing along the East Coast and in Los Angeles, and we're really popping up all over the US. We have a pretty good stronghold in Canada. And when people think of a green space in an urban context, typically they think of a green roof that requires severe retrofitting of the building. It's cumbersome, it's expensive. Real estate is pretty scarce in the context of large urban spaces. So we decided to come up with a model that's really non-intrusive and agile and could be applied anywhere where there's an interest. So whether that's a rooftop or a patio or a boardwalk, you name it, we've done it. So we've partnered with all sorts of different organizations and different types of real estate. We work a lot with commercial property owners and managers in an effort to really allow them to be more sustainable and allow people to have access to better, healthier food. So our model essentially is a versatile, agile garden that's comprised of microfiber pots. These pots are lightweight, and most importantly, what they do is allow for optimized airflow, which in turn gives you healthy roots, which translates to a maximized yield. So you're really getting the most bang for your buck, so to speak. Additionally, we use automated precision irrigation. So that means we use 90% less water than you would in a traditional garden. In this photograph, you'll see that there's rain collection mats underneath the pots. Aside from collecting rain, these also allow the plant, they prevent any abrasions to the roof, so we don't interfere with the infrastructure. We're able to work around any existing infrastructure, whether that's air ducts or air conditionings or anything of the sort. Our farmer, in this case, you'll see it's Sam. He comes once a week on a regular basis on the same time, same day to the farm, and he takes care of all the maintenance. So it's a turnkey system that doesn't require anything from our partners. They're more than welcome to participate, but it's not required of them. So he'll take care of the harvest, he'll take care of all the maintenance and just the upkeep of the farm. To date, we have almost 200 farms, and this year we're expected to produce just short of 50,000 pounds of food, and we're pretty proud and excited about that. I'd like to share, for specifically in the context of food as medicine, and seeing as you are community leaders, I'd like to share one of our projects that we have in the Calgary Mall. So it's a farm that the mall decided they want to use the space that's not being utilized. They want to utilize their roof in a better way. And they decided to have 30 pots up there. So that's our standard package. And along came an organization from Calgary called Made by Mama. So this is a group, a non-for-profit group of women that basically they support other women by providing meals for them. So it could be women after labor or single parent families. And they sort of partnered with us and with the Calgary Mall, and they supplemented another additional 70 pots. So we currently have a 100-pot farm on the Calgary Mall on the roof, which is a great example of, first of all, utilizing unused space, allowing for healthy, accessible food, which is organic and grown on site right by your doorstep. And it's a win-win situation for everybody. So there's three components here that we look when we measure the benefits of incorporating a project like this in a property. So first of all, we're reducing carbon emissions by reducing the food miles. So essentially the amount of travel that food has to do. Most of the food that we consume comes from Mexico or California, and that's a whole lot of carbon emission until it reaches our plate. Our practices are sustainable, so everything we use is organic, non-GMO, whether that's the soil or the fertilizers. We don't use any pesticides or herbicides. We don't want to interfere with the plant health, but more importantly, we don't want to inhibit any pollinators. So another focus of what we do is really boosting the biodiversity and encouraging a healthy pollination community. And a lot of our partners also have beehives that we don't supply, but it's another aspect that they see the importance in. And in projects that have both the beehive and the garden, it's complementary to each other. It's a symbiotic relationship. The bees have an abundant food source, and our garden gets pollinated on a regular basis, and it provides really good food. And then there's the social aspect, so mobilization. I don't need to explain to you, I'm sure you're well aware of the importance of having healthy food as part of a healthy lifestyle, and the benefits of having that proximity to nature, being in tune with the cycle of the crops and so on, is something that we believe has great value, but we see it firsthand. So to sum it up, what our service is, it's a turnkey service. It's a set and forget service as far as our partners are concerned. We come on a regular basis. We take care of everything from the planning to the planting to harvesting to winterizing the garden. People are more than welcome to join. We're always happy to have people jump in with us, but it's not required of our partners. So the garden will thrive regardless of how involved they choose to be. The weekly maintenance is essentially allows for having a steady supply, a weekly supply of fresh produce. And that varies, that changes throughout the season. So in the beginning of the season, you'll get more leafy greens and fine herbs. Later down the line, you'll get more root vegetables and tomatoes. And towards the end of the season, maybe we'll see squash and aubergine, just as an example, eggplant, sorry. And like I said, it's eco-intensive production, so we really want to max out the space that we use. So we use plant varieties that work well with each other within the small ecosystem of each planter. It's chemical free. And we also offer educational activities, which I'll get into just a moment, and communication tools. So everyone's favorite part is the harvest. The harvest is, as I mentioned, 100% organic, and it belongs 100% to our clients. So we don't take any of the harvest ourselves. And typically what we've seen our partners do, and it's entirely up to them, but what we've seen people do is either supply their own local cafeteria or a cafe if they have on site. Other times we see our clients split it up between their tenants, or you could either have a raffle and each week a different family gets it, or you have a sort of a farmer's market situation, first come, first serve. It's really entirely up to our clients. They've gotten pretty creative with it. And for our partners that are looking for more of a social aspect to it, we've seen really growing in popularity lately is donating it to a local NGO. So that typically would be a soup kitchen or a food bank. Now, food banks and soup kitchens, most times their donations consist of dry goods or canned food. And getting this fresh, healthy produce that was grown a couple of miles away at most is really appreciated and goes a long way. We also offer educational activities. So each one of our packages includes a couple of educational activities. That could either be a kiosk where we set up a little booth and explain to people the benefits of urban farming and the value of cultivating your own food, and giving them tools to be able to do it at home, whatever space they have, whether it's a small balcony or you have a backyard, maybe you have access to your own rooftop. It's really, what's great about this system is that it could be implemented in any space. Another really popular activity that we offer is a guided harvest. So our farmer would come and basically it's a walk through the garden. He would describe the different species, how to harvest them, and how to implement these tools in your home. Without getting too technical, these are the basic requirements that we would need from starting a garden. So safe access, doesn't have to be on a roof. Like I mentioned, our urban farms could be implemented anywhere. But we do need safe access if it is on a roof. We need a minimum of 500 square feet. Doesn't have to be in a square per se, and water. So our growing timeline is seasonal. It changes from year to year. Typically what we've seen last year is the last 2 weeks of May is when we start our garden. We would do the installation in a half a day, after which we would plant a pre-germinated plant. So you're not just sitting there watching, empty pots. And within a few weeks, you would already start getting a harvest. And like I mentioned, you get a wide variety of different heirloom vegetables, fine herbs, leafy greens, and we have a bunch of root vegetables and flowers as well. So you get a real boost to the local ecosystem. And we harvest all through summer. And last year, our last farm came down the first week of November. So you're really getting a solid 6 months out of this harvest. And yeah, that's microhabitat in a nutshell. Um, we're really looking forward to just helping heal cities across North America. And I appreciate your time. I'll be taking questions now.
Great. So Yuta, you can stop sharing your screen. And so as you were speaking, let me add my spotlight. There's a look of like this. Everyone's looking like that. So like the wheels are turning, people are trying to figure out how they can possibly perhaps incorporate this into the organizations that they are connected to. And so to say it clearly so everyone understands, what is the cost overall to start, and can it be done sort of in a co-op type of way? So if it's a building, with like not necessarily that the super has to pay or the building management, but all of the tenants in the building can kind of pool together to work to create this perhaps on their rooftop or something like that. So what is the cost and how is it usually paid?
Well, typically we work with property managers. I know that co-ops and apartments of that sort of dynamic, it's harder to make decisions in that sort of format. So it does require some coordination and a lot of civility, I would say. And the cost involved in this sort of operation, well, it varies. It starts from $20,000 and it could go up to $33,000 more or less. And again, it depends on how many pots you have. Our basic package is 30 pots, but we've gone up to 200 pots as well. So it depends on what your objectives are. If you're going for a more of an educational approach, or you really want to maximize your production. So we do work in schools, for instance, where it's not so much about maximizing yield. It's about having the children having access to food, understanding where it comes from, what the cycle is, having a deeper appreciation. If you plant the seed and you see it grow, well, you're going to be a lot more inclined to appreciate it rather than if it comes from a can. But then, like I mentioned, made by mama, they're going for maximum yield. So it's not necessarily a garden that people have access to, but when they have a harvest, it's a substantial harvest.
Okay, and then in terms of the vegetables that people can choose from, is there a brochure that they receive or something with a list that they select, or do you kind of do the same thing for everybody based on the season?
That's an excellent question. There are some factors that we look at. So first of all, we're choosing varieties that will give us a high turnover. Because we're harvesting every week, we're planting every week, we want to make sure that we do have that consistency. It also depends on where you are. If you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, you might get different varieties. If you're on the ground floor or you're on the top of a skyscraper in Manhattan, you're also going to have different varieties just for the technical and climate requirements. I will say that we had one partner that we worked with. It was a complex with a lot of Asian families, and they specifically asked, they want a lot of Asian greens. So they had bok choy and napa cabbage and a whole bunch of other stuff that I can't pronounce. But we're more than happy to work with our partners in order to accomplish their goals. Of course, we have our expertise and our recommendations, but we're very agile in that sense.
And can you describe the pots, the type of pots that you're using again? They seem to be specific to this program, and what is the name of them?
Well, this is it's not proprietary. It is something that you could find in a garden center or online. It's a geotextile pot, so essentially it's a synthetic fabric that allows for really good airflow within the root system, within the soil. So we believe that if you have healthy soil, that'll produce a healthy crop, which will help produce healthy people. So it all starts with the soil. Rather than growing crops, we grow soil, and that's where it begins, and that's where it ends for us as well, right? So it's really a holistic circle in that sense. if you're looking for something like this online, it could be referred to. Smart Pots is the colloquial name that's typically used. That's a brand name. We don't use that brand. We have our own manufacturer. But if you're looking to buy those online, that's what you could find it under.
Okay, great. And are there any situations where this would not work well? So for people who are thinking about this for their church or school, is there any situation where you would say, no, that wouldn't work, this wouldn't work for you?
Well, we're looking, first of all, for safety. If it's on a rooftop or if it's in a tight space, we would have to look at that. Just make sure that we're keeping up to code and standard in that regard. We're looking at light exposure, so we want a minimum of 6 hours of light. If you're in a tight urban space, sometimes that could be a challenge. And that's pretty much what we're measuring when we do a site evaluation.
Okay, and where, again, can people access this or get access to this? Is it throughout the United States or just in certain states?
So we're growing. We're present in most of the major cities. I will say, if there's a attraction in a certain city, we will open up a location there. So just as an example, Washington, D.C., we had some people approach us last year, and we didn't have enough traction to justify sending a farmer there and having a microhabitat present. This year, we already have 12 partners there. So it's about creating that critical mass, creating that awareness, and just sharing that mindset of having healthier cities, healthier urban spaces. And people who live in cities, they like greenery, they like nature just as much as our cousins out in the country. So that's what it's about.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Yuda. I thought when I heard your presentation that this would be perfect for a group of people to come together. I don't want people to be discouraged by the $20,000 because, again, that could be done with a grant, a fundraiser, and think of all the other things that we raise funds for. But imagine having your own food supply growing within a community where you all are learning about the benefits of that food, growing it yourself, all of that. So I think this is really interesting. Yuda, if people want to get in touch with you to have perhaps you present at their church or community organization, how would they do that?
Well, first of all, I would be happy to talk to anybody who wants to talk urban farming. Look me up. I'm always thrilled to address people. You could reach me either by email. That's yuda@microhabitat.ca. So that's Yuda, that's YUDA @microhabitat, one word, .ca. Or you could call me. It's 332-264-1772.
Okay. And what is the website?
Microhabitat.com.
Okay, great. And then there are two more questions. Are you located or do you provide this service in Philadelphia?
Not at the moment, but we are working on it. So
Okay,
we're in New York, New Jersey. We're getting there.
And also, would you help to create a compost area?
That's an excellent question. Well, it's on a specific basis. Let's just put it at that. It's not
So it's not no.
It's not something that we typically provide. It's not a service that we provide, but we could definitely work with our customers. Like I said, this is an agile system. It's about looking at things holistically, and we believe that practicing that in every step of the way. So we're definitely willing to consider it.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Yuda.
so much,
And
Doctor.
But don't go yet. We have to give you a round of applause. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us this evening. And you guys can come off mute and thank Yuda. And I hope you all will call him.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm blushing.
Thanks so much, Yuda. Have a good evening.
Have a great evening. Stay healthy, everybody.
Thank you. You too.
Great.
Wow,
Okay, everyone. So I'm going to put you all on mute again.
That was the first speaker.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen again. We have our next speaker coming up. Just give me 1 second. All right, everyone. So our next speaker is Miss Khadijah Karriem. She has been plant-based for almost 30 years. She has studied under Tony Young and Dr. Sebi and works with plant-based advocate and our favorite, Chef Babette. She believes the body has the power to heal itself if it has the right nutrients and environment. She started the Healing Network for Natural Medicine because she wanted to offer people the highest quality of nutrient-rich products that were from the earth. Her products are 100% organic, natural, and healing, infused with prayer and love. So welcome, Ms. Khadijah Karriem to the HeartSmarts community. And I just want to say, as you all know, a lot of the speakers that we have come on here, I find on Instagram, but specifically with Khadijah, I was going through Chef Babette's videos or something, because you all know I stalk her on Instagram, and then I saw Khadijah, and I just kept clicking things to get to who she actually was, because Chef Babette was saying this is where she gets her sea moss from. And I knew that I wanted to have someone come in and talk about sea moss for this series, and I couldn't find a person. And so I kept clicking, got to the Healing Network, and then I sent a direct message through Instagram, and she actually responded. And so I told her about HeartSmarts and told her what we were doing, and she said she'd love to speak with you all. And so this will be very informal. She's going to share about her journey and about the business that she started. But I know a lot of you have questions about sea moss, so ask them now. I always say to you all as well that I believe that Dr. Sebi really was at the forefront of a lot of the things that we are learning. And so when Khadijah and I spoke for the first time, we spoke for a while once we knew that we both used to study Dr. Sebi's work and use his products and all of that. And so this is a full circle moment for me in that regard, that there's someone else who also respects and has used the work and studied the work of Dr. Sebi as well. So I hope you all will learn a lot this evening from Ms. Khadijah. And so now I am going to come off the screen, and Khadijah, you can just let me know when you want me to share for the website and for the video as well, but you're on mute, so you can come off mute.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here tonight. And thank you, Dr. Tettey, for inviting me. I'm so glad you reached out to me because, as she said, this is helping people to heal has been my life's ministry now. And so just hearing the things that we talked about and what her mission has been with you all is to like bring you healthy information so that you can help yourselves on your own healing journey. And even with the micro habitat, I think that is so wonderful because I truly believe that we all have to start growing our own foods because you know, the GMO and all of the things that they are doing to even vegetables, it's like until you actually are growing your own things, you really don't know how it's made and what's in it and all of that. So I'm definitely going to be contacting him about that. So my journey, as she said, I studied, well, first when I was 23 years old is when my healing journey actually started. And a little before that, my father is the one that introduced me to herbs. And, you know, he grew up on a farm in North Carolina. So, you know, they didn't run to the doctors to get pills. They actually went to the earth to find medicines to help them. So he was always the one that taught me about herbs early on. So I understood about, you know, going to the earth for medicine then, but I would say probably my healing journey didn't really start until I was 23. And I just had my son and just got hit with a lot of very devastating things that happened in my life to the point where I was extremely depressed and wasn't really able to cope, and really, to be honest, didn't even want to be here anymore. But God was good. And what God did was he put a series of people in my life and information in my life that not only saved my life, but it helped put me on this journey and this path right now, which I call my ministry, which is to help people return to the earth for their medicine, as opposed to the pills and everything that, you know, a lot of the doctors still want to give us. So Tony Young had a health ministry, and that's the first person that really helped me to understand that if you wanted life, you had to eat life. And so she was the first person that introduced the idea of being vegan. And so I have been non-meat for, like I said, 30 years and 23, I'm 53 years old today. And not today, but I'm 53 years old. And a lot of people always ask me, like, you know, what's my secret? And so that is what I start off by telling them, is that she said that if you want life, you have to eat life. Plant life is peaceful. If you want peace, you have to eat peace. And so I always kind of think of myself as a plant, you know, because again, what happens with a plant, just like he said, you know, you water it, you nurture it, you give it good nutrition, it grows, it has life. If you're pouring soda in the plant, if you're, you know, not giving it love and nurturing nutrition, then it dies. Okay, so that's how I kind of think about myself in terms of a plant. And so that's what she introduced me to, and so that's how I started to eat non-meat. And then when I moved to California, I got introduced to Dr. Sebi. His office was like not far from my house. And just understanding all about his herbs and listening to him. And as far as sea moss, now I know that everybody is, you know, really gung-ho about sea moss now because of the pandemic. But at that time, he was talking about sea moss then. I mean, and a lot of people didn't know about it unless you actually was a student of his, in which I was. And so I just totally grasped onto everything that he talked about, because I believe that it was just another extension of what she had already set me on the path for. And then, you know, the herbs and the things that he had was just further information about, you know, how we can heal as a people. And so, you know, what he talked about was that the body, that there really is only one disease, and that's the disease of mucus. And so when you eat the right nutrition, as he always says, more alkaline foods, if you eat the right nutrition, and then you also take the sea moss, which is, you know, what he was always talking about, the sea moss helps rid the body of mucus. And so therefore, when you rid the body of mucus, then virus, bacteria, things have less likely a chance to live in your body. Now, mind you, it won't be every bit of mucus in your body, because we do need some, right? But it's the overproduction of mucus is what causes the disease. I mean, so that was something that I really gravitated to. And so now fast forward, we're in 2020 and COVID hits, right? And everybody is panicking. Of course, a lot of people lost their lives. And so sea moss was something that I started hearing people talk about more and more and more, you know, because they understood that sea moss is also antiviral, you know, and also it rids the body of mucus. And that's what was happening in a lot of COVID patients, is that it would be this overabundance of mucus in the lungs, which would prevent them from being able to breathe, right? And so people started, of course, going back to health, going back to the earth, you know, for their healing. And so that is actually how the Healing Network started for me, because, you know, I'm always posting things about, you know, drinking my juices, or I post about, I had some sea moss that I blended up, and I was like, oh, I haven't too much of this. Does anybody want some? And I was like, yeah, I want some of that. I heard about this. I heard about that. And so that kind of turned into one person, then it turned into 3 people, then it turned into more. And now we ship nationwide, and Chef Babette is one of our influencers. And so it's grown. And I'm really appreciative of that, because it is just more validation and reiteration of the path that God wants me to be on, which is, like I said, to help people to heal. So let's talk about sea moss essentials, okay? Because I know that's what everybody want to know about. And, you know, and the first thing people always say is that the real sea moss? You know, is that the real sea moss? You know, I hear that all the time, because there's a lot of things out there, and people are misinformed on a lot of things. So hopefully today, that what I'm talking about, you will really get to understand what sea moss is, the different types of sea moss, and why it's so good for our bodies. Okay, so the types of sea moss, And if you want to, Dr. Tettey, to show that page on my website, I have benefits of sea moss, and it also talks about the different types of sea moss. But I also have some study aids here. So this is, if you can see this is how the sea moss, when I get it, it comes here. Our sea moss is organic and wildcrafted, and it comes straight from the oceans of St. Lucia. Okay, this right here is actually green sea moss, even though, you know, it's just because it still has some of the salt from the ocean. And then this is the gold sea moss. This is how it looks dry. And then this is the purple sea moss. You can see that here. So this is how it looks dry. Okay, and like I said, it comes straight from St. Lucia. And when I get it, this is how it looks. And then I hydrate it, okay, and soak it overnight in spring water. And so I got some over here. So I'm gonna pull this out so you can see. So now this is the gold, and this is how it looks once it's been hydrated, right? So you can see the veins and everything of how it is. And that yields quite a bit. And the same thing for the purple sea moss. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, so I'm
Purple
not
sea moss.
sharing your website yet. So they're looking at you.
That's okay. Okay, long as you can see what that's why I had this too, just in case. Okay, so this is the purple sea moss, and this is how this looks, right? And then this is the green sea moss. That's actually green. A lot of people think that I put dye in it, and I'm like, no, this is how it comes from the earth. This is green sea moss. Okay, so here's the thing. So people say, what is that the real sea moss? So let me explain the differences in sea moss. So you have sea moss as, think of it as an umbrella, sea moss, right? And under that umbrella, you have Cronus crispus, which is actually the Irish sea moss that people talk about. Sea moss is a general umbrella, but then you also have Cronus crispus, and you also have Guinness graciliaria. Okay, so what I just showed you was Guinness graciliaria, and that is grown in warm waters in the Caribbean, and it grows all year round. Okay, then we have Cronus crispus, which this is some Cronus crispus that kind of, I don't know if you can see the difference in the leaves. These are very short. It's not as long and veiny. And in fact, when you blend it, it doesn't really, and if you have had sea moss before, I want you to put a number 1 in your chat, just so I'll know who's actually had sea moss before. And if you're taking sea moss right now, put in a number 2. So if you've had sea moss before, you know that when it's blended into a gel, it's a really thick kind of consistency, which I'm going to show you some in a minute. But this is this is Cronus crispus. So Cronus crispus grows in Ireland in the wintertime on a rock. That is the only time you can get Cronus crispus. It is not year round, and it doesn't yield a lot. So that is actually the difference. So when people say, is that the real sea moss? They're all real. It's just that there are different species, right? This is the species that is the Cronus crispus that grows in Ireland. And this is the species that grows in the warm waters in the Caribbean. Now, there is no nutritional difference in them. They both have 92 of all the vitamins and minerals that the body needs, okay? 92 of all the minerals, right? They both have the same kind of content in terms of what it can do for your body, is ridding your body of inflammation and things like that. It's just that the difference is this is going to yield a whole lot more for me, right? This is not going to yield that much. So that's why it's actually much more expensive. So if you see this in a store or something like that, it's going to cost you a whole lot more than this, because one, they can only get it once a year, and it doesn't make up a whole lot. So you can't get a lot out of it. So therefore they have to charge a lot of money. Okay. So that is the difference between the types of sea moss. But like I said, they both have the same nutritional value in terms of being 92% of everything that your body needs. 92 minerals and vitamins, help rid the body of mucus. Were you able to find that yet? That list? So I just want to make sure they're able to look at that as far as
Oh
like the
yeah, I've had it. I'm just waiting for you to tell me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Just put it up.
Yeah, you can show it. So I just wanted you to see the list because I'm not going to name all of them because there are actually way more than what I listed there. But just the benefits of sea moss is it boosts the immune system. It helps build strong bones, increases energy. It reduces inflammation. It reduces excess mucus, just like what I was saying about what Dr. Sebi talked about. Joint health. It helps keep things lubricated. So joint health helps soothe the digestive tract because actually it's going to help with bowel production. So it's going to help clean that out. Helps aid in weight loss. Okay. Now it doesn't mean that if you take it, you're going to automatically lose weight, especially somebody who might not want to lose weight. It's just saying that if that is something that you're trying to do, you can just eat sea moss, right? And get all of your nutritional value. And then you're not adding on calories. So then you can lose weight. Okay. So that's when people ask me this, like, well, I don't need to lose any weight. Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily make you have to lose weight if you don't want to. It's just saying that it can. Helps protect brain degeneration. Okay. Our brain, of course, obviously has got a lot of things that it needs nutrition for. So it helps with brain degeneration, helps with thyroid health, vaginal health, prostate health, balances the hormones, is antiviral, is antimicrobial. It just helps build strongly muscle, is iron rich. I mean, and like I said, the list goes on and on and on of the things that sea moss is good for. So that is why Dr. Sebi always talked about sea moss, to incorporate it in your daily regimen of life. Whatever your nutrition is, there's different ways that you can incorporate it in your daily eating that will help you have more nutrition. And so if you scroll up a little bit, and like I said, the other way. Oh, sorry. Yes. And like I said, it comes in 3 different colors, which is the green sea moss, which is actually very rare. I mean, you don't really find that often because people don't really understand how important and how valuable that green sea moss is. It is full of chlorophyll. Okay. Chlorophyll is oxygen. Oxygen for your body, oxygen for your blood. So we have an amazing blend, the green sea moss with moringa, which I'll also talk about later. Then it also in the gold sea moss. The gold sea moss, of course, has all of the main benefits that I just talked about, but it is one that's probably a little lighter in terms of if you wanted to give it to children. A lot of people bake with that. Chef Babette makes a lot of dishes with the gold sea moss because it doesn't have like a real strong taste to it. So you can actually hide it in a lot of things. So, people will put it in oatmeal. They'll put it in cream of wheat. They'll put it in yogurt. They'll put it in smoothies. They'll put it in a lot of things. And also the gold sea moss is what I use a lot for the face and the hair, because sea moss is total body. And I'll talk about that a little later about how you can use sea moss for your body. And then the purple, because of its rich color, if you think about vegetables or fruits that are purple, they're very high in antioxidants. Okay. So the purple is extremely high in antioxidants. So it helps boost the immune system. Okay. It boosts energy. The claim to fame to it boosts libido. So a lot of my male clients love that, and some of my women clients too. But it helps boost the libido. And again, it has all of the other benefits that I talked about with sea moss. So all of the sea moss will have the general list of benefits that I talked about, but each of the colors have added medicinal properties to them for the things that you may want to heal. So people sometimes say, well, how do I know which one to try? Or how do I know which one to take? I always say, start first with what you want to work on. You know, think about what it is you want to work on. So like, you know, if a person that worked out all the time and I want to make sure I had energy, or if I wanted to give up coffee and things like that, that I'm using for false energy, I turn to my purple sea moss because it's going to give me that boost that I'm looking for. And it helps sustain you through your workout and helps to build lean muscle. So that one is one that I would also use for that. The green sea moss is extremely good for anemia. I actually deem that the blend that I have like my women's formula, because the green sea moss just by itself, like I said, with the chlorophyll and the oxygen, is good for purifying our blood. And as you know, as women, we go through a purification process monthly. So those things help us with that process as well. And then with the added of the moringa, it just helps with everything else we need: our mood, depression, anemia, like I said, hormone balance, all of those things like that. So the green is excellent for that. And like I said, the gold is good for using all over your body, as well as for children and things like that. So that is what the different types of sea moss, the different types are. If you go to nutritional information, okay, so that's the moringa leaf. So these are just some other added nutrients that I have in some of the blends that we offer at the Healing Network for Natural Medicine. Moringa is like, especially if you're a plant life. I mean, if you're a vegan or vegetarian and people say, oh, you're not getting any protein. Well, listen, moringa has way more protein than an egg. Okay, it has more potassium than a banana. It has more vitamin A than carrots. You really can get everything you need from moringa, and that is not any meat whatsoever. You know, if you're in that plant life, you know. Now, if you're not that plant life, that's fine. I always say to my clients that they say, you know, I don't know if I can give up meat. I said, that's fine. Just eat clean, because our ancestors, my father, you know, they ate meat, you know, I mean, that's how they were raised, but they ate it clean. You know, they saw what that cow was eating. They saw what the chicken was eating. They saw what the hog was eating. So you know what those things are. And so therefore, you know what you're putting in your body. So if you eat clean, then that's fine too. But that moringa with the green sea moss is magic. That's actually one of my best sellers. And then we have the bladderwrack. So bladderwrack and sea moss is actually the blend that Dr. Sebi always talked about. I mean, really in his office when he was there in California, that's the combination that he had: sea moss with bladderwrack. Why? Because the sea moss with bladderwrack, that 92%, it actually makes it 100%. Because the bladderwrack is a type of seaweed that's excellent for the thyroid health. It's excellent in iodine rich. It's packed with vitamin K, helps with digestive orders, you know. And what I like the most about it, it helps regenerate cells. And so when you think about if you've had surgeries or issues with health where you have been sick a long time, it helps to regenerate the cells, because our bodies, you know, can regenerate themselves. Like a plant, you know, you pick off a leaf of a plant, you know, that leaf can actually grow back. Our bodies is the same way. If we put the right nutrition in it, then it can help our bodies to regenerate things that we've missed or have died off, and then create new forms of cells, new systems that we need. So it's definitely blood cleansing, purifies the blood, purifies the body. Bronchitis, if you've had issues with bronchitis or heavy mucus in your chest, and inflammation, is very good for that. Anxiety, which, you know, this world that we're in right now, you could just turn on the TV and anxiety can happen sometimes. I definitely know that I deal with anxiety sometimes, because it's just that it's so much, and there's so many things happen that feel out of our control. But again, when I go to plant life, when I go to the things from the earth, it helps to kind of balance that, you know, as much as it can, you know, because again, we still, you know, have to deal with some things, but boost the immune system, which is also good, and increase energy. So you can see how some of the things that I talked about with the purple sea moss, some of the things kind of overlap. They do some of the same things. So it's just a matter of going back to deciding what things that you want to work on? You know, what are you trying to heal? And then those would be the type of blends that I would suggest for you to take. And so again, if you take these things daily, so I always recommend taking at least 2 tablespoons a day of sea moss, okay? Incorporate it in whatever way you want to in your daily life, whether it's smoothies, whether it's things that you eat, I actually put the bladderwrack in soups. I put the bladderwrack in gravies. Chef Babette, she's made salad dressing out of it. You just want to make sure that you have it in your daily regimen somewhere each day, and therefore you are fortifying your body with nutrition. Oh, I forgot to talk about turmeric. One of the other blends I have is the turmeric blend, which we know turmeric is amazing for inflammation. Where we use the turmeric that we use has 95% curcuminoids, which is the highest form of turmeric there is. It helps reduces brain disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, things that have to do with the brain. It helps reduce that. Anti-inflammatory, if you have issues with arthritis or I actually had a friend who was dealing with lupus, and that's actually why I created the blend, because she was dealing with flare-ups. And she said that this helped her with her flare-ups because, again, it reduces the inflammation. We'd be surprised how many things are actually because of inflammation. A lot of the chronic diseases that people suffer with, a lot of the things that we go into the doctor about is really due to inflammation. And inflammation is mucus. It's an oversaturation of mucus that causes it to be inflamed, and that is what causes the problems, okay? Even tumors. Tumors is just hardened mucus, right? Hardened mucus in the body that the cells have overproduced, and now that's why you have issues with that. Right? So again, when you talk about the heart, even the arteries, cholesterol, that's mucus, that's hardened mucus in the arteries that have caused an issue for blockages. So again, when we can remove the mucus from our bodies, then a lot of those things start to flow out. And then that also helps in some of that, and to help you heal from those things. Now, of course, I'm not saying that sea moss is the end all be all and it's the one-stop shop cure, because it actually goes with everything else. Healing is what you eat. Healing is a mindset. Healing is also to what you put in your body. Is healing is herbs. There's a lot of different things that can cause healing. So I always tell people, don't just think, you're just going to get the sea moss and then that's going to be it. You don't have to worry about it and I'm good. No, you still have to also make sure it's backed with a healthy diet and exercise as well. Okay, so I talked about that, and those are just some other things that are in some of our products, the hibiscus, the ginger, and things like that. So I talked about food is a medicine, because again, that's what, I think is really great, because I started the Healing Network because I wanted it to be just that, a network of healers that came together with their different expertise to do exactly what Dr. Tettey is doing, bringing us here so that we can talk to you. And the vision of it is to eventually make it a place where people can come and heal. You can come and check in for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Dr. Sebi had a compound like that in Honduras. I would love to create something like that here in the States. So that is the ultimate vision of the Healing Network. But until then, I want to bring products and things that I know for a fact were from the earth and that could help people heal. So let me go in talking about, should I take some questions now before I move to the products, or should I just go ahead and do those?
Into the products and let me know if you want me to show that video that with the sea
Yes,
moss.
I do. I almost forgot about the video. I'm so glad you said. Oh, okay. So yeah, let's go back to the video. Let's go to the video right now, because I want people to really see, because you've heard about sea moss, you talk about it, but sometimes people don't really know how it's harvested, how it happens. And these are actually our farmers that are in St. Lucia.
And so you all are not going to hear the sound of the video. Khadijah is going to talk over it And then I'm going to skip to certain parts as she's speaking.
Yes. And so what they are doing right now is just basically showing you that when they harvest the sea moss, it's growing in the waters, right? Like I said, warm waters in the Caribbean. And when they take it out of the water, and that's when it stops growing. And so then they hang it on the vines there, and that's where it starts to dry in the sun. Okay, so ironically enough, though, when it's under the water, see how that looks purpley and you know, you're not sure exactly if that's purple or gold. Well, what happens is that when they dry it in the sun, right, that's what makes it turns the darker purple. The sun is actually feeding it even more nutrients, right? When they take it out of the water and they cover it, that is what actually makes it turn gold. Now, aside from the green sea moss, when it comes out is green, and when it dries is green, right? But that's how you get the gold, and that's how you get the purple. But this is actually their process. This is if you would like to, outside of this, go to YouTube. It's called A Day in the Life of a Sea Moss Farmer. And then you'll see exactly what they do daily, how they go and get the sea moss and package it up and ship it off to me. And that's when I take it, and I take it through a special blending process, because some people heat boil sea moss. I don't, you know, now mind you, there's a whole lot of people that do sea moss, and everybody got their own way of processing. For me, I like it to be exactly what was from the ocean. So I just take it through a special blending process so that all the nutrients and vitamins are still in that jar when you get it. Okay, I don't boil it, because to me, the vitamins are just boiling on out of there. So that's why I don't boil it. But some people do that as, you know, skipping the step to make it, you know, blend smoother or something like that. But I just take my time and take it through a blending process to make it into the gel form. But, you know, people always say, you know, do you know where you're getting your sea moss? It's not coming from over in China or the UK, is coming from the Caribbean. I know the people, I know exactly where it's coming from, and it's coming straight to me. So that gives me peace of mind. And also when I'm talking to people and my customers to let them know about, you know, our products, I can stand on it. You know, I can stand on exactly where it's come from. So that is something that you can go and look at on your own, the day in the life of a sea moss farmer. And just here, and also too, just know that in the Caribbean, sea moss is a superfood, right? You can actually live on sea moss, right? You don't have to eat anything else, and you can live on sea moss because it's got 92 of 102 vitamins and minerals. It's got everything that you need. It's a complete superfood. And so people in the Caribbean, actually in times of famine, that's what they would do. They ate the sea moss. That's how they sustained themselves. And also even, you know, and while the whole sea moss craze has happened from COVID, the good part about it is that it's also brought jobs to the Caribbean people. Okay, it's helped them to have commerce, you know, to be able to ship this to other places and things like that. So it's a good thing all the way around, okay? Because, you know, they're living on an island. So, I mean, it's not like it's a whole lot of things that they can earn money from, but the sea moss has grown in such a way that it is actually really sustaining them. And one thing I will add about the sea moss that we use, so my good friend, her husband, his brother is the minister of what is it? Agriculture. There it is. He's the minister of agriculture, which means that he is responsible for making sure that all of the sea moss follows all of the guidelines. There's no heavy metals and all those things like that. So that's the other good part about the sea moss that I use, is that it comes with all of those certifications so that it is coming from a good place. So I just wanted to add that. Okay, so that's just some lists of our different products. And so now I'm just going to talk about, now I talked about the purple sea moss. And so here is the purple sea moss in the gel. If you see that in the middle of the page, and all that is that purple sea moss that I showed you, blended in spring water. Like I said, I soak it I soak it with healing crystals and prayer, because I want to infuse the power of healing into every jar, so that when you are taking it, then that is what it's doing for your body. So this is purple sea moss, and that's all it is the purple sea moss blended with spring water. That's it. Okay. And as I said, I already talked about all of those great benefits of purple sea moss. Then I have the sea moss with bladderwrack. Okay, the sea moss with bladderwrack is, we talked about the bladderwrack and the sea moss. This is this combination in the gel. Then I have my turmeric blend, which again, I talked about the turmeric and how powerful that is with the sea moss itself. So you're getting best of both things, the turmeric and all that anti-inflammatory properties, and then also the sea moss anti-inflammatory properties. And then I have the green sea moss with moringa, which, like I said, this is probably one of the best sellers. And the thing is that when you smell it, you go, oh, this smells like eggs. I was like, well, yeah, that's the protein and the potassium in the moringa that's giving it that smell. But if you can get past the smell, trust me. And also too, moringa is a natural antidepressant. So it actually makes you have this very light, euphoric kind of feeling. I don't know. People always say, I know when I'm not taking it. Okay, they like, I don't know what's in there, but I know when I'm not taking it. It's because it's a natural antidepressant. And so I talked to you about in the beginning of my speaking, I talked about how depressed I was. And when I went to Tony Young and I was talking about that, and she was saying plant life is peaceful. I mean, I didn't know about this at that time, but this is what I'm talking about in terms of the nature of moringa being a natural antidepressant. It helps with the serotonin in your brain, the balance, because that's what depression is. It's sort of like an imbalance of sorts. So it helps with that. And it just makes you have this very light feeling. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay. And then of course, like I said, the gold sea moss, you can use this for a multitude of things. So sea moss is total body. So let me just tell you about that. This sea moss, you can take a tablespoon of the gold sea moss. You can add some aloe vera juice, right? Some olive oil, and maybe a little bit of water. Okay, shake that up, and that's a leave-in conditioner. Okay, you can spray that in. Sea moss is a natural thing for moisture. So it's going to really help moisturize your hair. It's going to moisturize your scalp, helps with that and growing and things like that. This is great. This is also great as a mask, a face mask. You could do the same exact thing, some sea moss, a little bit of olive oil, and I usually do like a little bit of aloe vera, like the fresh aloe vera, something like that, and just warm it a little bit, spread that all over my face, and that's a great mask in the evening. Okay, so because the skin is what? It is the largest organ on the body. So anything that you put on your skin, you should be able to eat. Okay, so you want to put natural things on your skin just the way you put natural things in your body. So this is one thing that I use for everything, not only taking it internally, but I also put it on my face, I put it on my body. And I also partnered with another friend of mine who has a company that this is only exclusive on the Healing Network, but we have sea moss body and face butters. Okay, because again, healing is all over, right? We want to heal everything. And like I said, anything you put on your skin, you should be able to eat. And each of these vegan body butters, we have this is right here is the hibiscus moss melody. It has nothing but the natural ingredients in it. Now I do need my glasses on it. Okay. All right. It's got hibiscus, sea moss, strawberry, blackberry, dragon fruit, beets, raspberry. Again, not saying that you're going to eat this, but if these are all natural ingredients that you can eat. A little bit goes a long way. It's very concentrated. So that's why it's small like this. It will last you a long time. A little bit goes a long way. Also have here the mint green tea moss, which has kiwi, mushroom, cornflower, peppermint, spirulina. If you're dealing with eczema, This one is excellent for that, you know, skin rashes, eczema. That's also good. Then I also have here the turmeric sea moss. So again, turmeric, inflammation. This has turmeric, sea moss, lemon, fenugreek, orange, cornflower, lemon balm, and rosemary. Smells really good too. So we have those. So again, you know, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to Heal a Network to be even a marketplace for, like, you have Amazon. Okay, well, then I wanted to be where people who have products that are natural, that are organic, that we could partner with them and have it here for them to on our website for people to purchase. But, you know, it's kind of like my stamp of approval. You know, I know that, you know, what these products are made of things that are natural and organic. We also sell the dry sea moss, the raw sea moss, only the gold and the purple that we sell, not the green, because that's exclusive to the Healing Network. So you're going to be very hard pressed to find it anywhere else. But yeah, we do sell the gold and the purple sea moss. And oh, and I forgot this last one. This doesn't have sea moss in it, but this is some amazing, this is our green coffee bean organic oil. It's just a little bit of an oil. You don't need but a couple of drops, but this is from Brazil, and it is cold pressed and it's fair trade. And this is excellent for your skin. Lots of antioxidants as well. So again, this is just wanted to have like something that could give people an overall body health, you know, from what you put inside your body as well as what you put on your body. So those are our products, but mainly the thing is that, like I said, this is all a part of my ministry, you know, and it is with the sea moss, but I hope that it will grow into, like I said, a place where people can come and heal themselves and understand that, you know, we all are on a path right now where we have to return to the earth. I mean, I don't think that it will be Walmart's forever, you know, in the way that the climate is and everything is going. We definitely have to grow our own food, the micro habitat, which is something that is great. I mean, I have like a tower garden where I try to grow my own foods. If you know what you're putting in your body, then you have a better chance at healing your body. So we don't have to turn to the pills all the time, because that's exactly what they want to. They want to prescribe you all kinds of pills for just little things. And then that turns into bigger things, because those things have side effects and that have side effects. And we're getting away from the truth of the earth. I mean, again, I believe God put whatever disease is out there in the world, God put the cure in the earth. As long as we know to go to it and find it, whether it's herbs, whether it's food, whether it's sea moss, you know, there's all kinds of different things in the earth that we can use to heal ourselves. And so that is that. So I hope that you guys got something from this today. You know, like I said, it's just about giving you information that hopefully you can use on your own journey.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ms. Khadijah. And I have to apologize to you. I am so sorry. When I did your introduction, I did not tell them that you are the sea moss queen. And I've been telling them that leading up to this, because we had the wheatgrass king who was here for our initial presentations. And so you all, Khadijah's official title is the sea moss queen. So I just wanted to get
not
that out there.
self-appointed, just so you know. Not
Okay.
self-appointed, but yes, they've deemed me that, because they say, you know, everything there is to know about sea moss. Well, you know, that is the nature of my business. So I have to make sure that I'm educated so that I can educate you. So
Awesome. So there are quite a few questions. If you asked a question earlier in the presentation, and then we put in our numbers, whether we've had sea moss or not, the 1s and 2s, your question is all the way at the top, and it would be a lot for me to scroll back up there. So if you can type your question again, if you typed it earlier, so that I could see it. So the first question is, can the green, gold, and purple sea moss be blended together?
Yes. So because like I said, I recommend 2 tablespoons a day. When people ask me, can they mix them? I say, yes, you can do 1 and 1. You know, the thing is that these are powerful. I mean, the sea moss is powerful. So, you know, you don't want to just put a whole bunch in there and like, oh, I'm gonna just doubly do this, because then you'll mess up. Because I always say you don't want to take a whole bottle of vitamins, right? It's the same thing. And the reason why you can mix, I wouldn't go past 2 of them. Because like I said, each of them have different medicinal properties to them. So you want to also see what is working for you. If you do a whole lot of mixing, then you don't really get an idea of what is doing what, right? But you can. If you're saying, hey, I need some energy and I also need this green one right here because I need to be in a good mood. So there you go. You just throw it in there. That's okay. You know, but I would just do one of each, not like a whole bunch and a whole bunch. Yes.
Okay, so you spoke a lot about mucus, and actually when Chef Babette was here, she told us about the mucusless diet book that she had read. So clearly mucus is something that we need to focus on.
Yes.
How does someone know if they have excess mucus? Like, would they be coughing after a meal, or would they feel congested? Like, what are the signs and symptoms of being full of mucus, so to speak?
Yeah, and all of those right there. I mean, if you're feeling like, people who have sinus issues, right? So, you're blowing your nose all the time, right? That's mucus. If you have eye drainage all the time, that's mucus, right? If you are coughing, got a lot of phlegm in your chest and in your throat, that's mucus. Even when you go to the bathroom, your stool, you may see like white, I mean, it might be kind of graphic, but you may see like white streaks and stuff like that. That's mucus. Okay. Now, if you're not taking something to rid the body of mucus, then that just means that your body is producing too much mucus. And what causes mucus? Cheese, dairy, okay, sugar. Those are the things that's going to cause the most mucus. And hey, listen, I understand I have a sweet tooth sometimes, and yes, I fight that daily. But too much sugar, too much cheese, too much dairy, that causes overproduction of mucus in the body. And so think about when you get sick, when we get colds, right? And you got all of the stuff and your snot and everything is going on. Sometimes you don't want to eat anything. Right? You don't want to eat anything because your body is naturally saying like, When you fast, when you stop putting those things in, the body actually can start to expel things, right? So even when you're taking the sea moss and you start to see that the membranes, you start getting more runny nose, not thick, but more runny nose, that's your body getting rid of the mucus pockets and stuff that's in there. And also when you go to the bathroom and in your stool and you start to see more, that's your body ridding itself of mucus. So if you're seeing that and you're taking something to rid your body of mucus, that's a good thing. If you're seeing that and you're not taking something to rid your body of mucus, that's not a good thing.
Okay, excellent. And so we're going to take a very quick detour into Dr. Sebi.
Yes.
And I remember his products, I always tell everyone, are the best or were the best that I have ever used in terms of this holistic lifestyle. And he had a product that was, I think it was like a cleanse. And what you're saying would happen, you would see the mucus coming out of every part of your body that it could come out of. And I wanted to ask you, because his products are, well, the people who are selling his products now, I don't think they're the same quality. But thinking of that cleanse that he had before, if you remember what I'm talking about, is the sea moss what someone would take to have that same effect? Or is there something else? It was the bladder wrack, but it was an intense cleanse that he had. What would you suggest?
Well, so the thing is, it's the combination. It's with the potent herbs, okay? And, I don't sell it online, but I do have a very potent tonic too, because again, like you said, his products, they kind of been counterfeited. I mean, you don't know who is the real, and they went through a whole lot of things, and I don't speak on that. But what I am saying is that it was the combination. He had the Tettey, he had the Maya, he had these other different strong herbs that were very bitter, because the more bitter the herb, the more powerful it is. So it was the combination of those herbs that are also helping the body to cleanse the organs, and how his products were things that helped on the cellular and intracellular level. So it was basically cleaning out the cells, because again, like I said, our cells can regenerate, right? So those old cells, the cells that are dying off in the body, then they're shedding. And so as you keep cleansing the body, you're shedding those cells, right? And so then now you need to regenerate good cells. And that's what the bladderwrack and the sea moss was doing, because it was helping to regenerate the cells. But you have to take the powerful herbs or cleansing. I mean, again, there's other herbalists out there that have, really strong herbals that are cleaning out all the organs that you can put in conjunction with the sea moss and get some of the same results. Now, of course, obviously it's not Dr. Sebi's products, but there are products that you use. I always say, as a rule of thumb, that we should always clean our bodies, do a really deep cleanse at least every 6 months to a year. You always want to keep your body clean. Sometimes 3 months to 6 months. I tend to do that because you're putting things in. It's kind of like a garbage disposal. You keep putting all that in and you don't turn the garbage disposal on and clean it out. You get that smell and things get rotted in there and all that. So you want to keep yourself and your body irrigated. You want to just keep the flow of things out, because that's how disease and things set up, is because it's just sitting in there and it's not being cleaned out. And we're putting in a lot of processed foods and a lot of things that is not good for us, sugar, all those different things, cheeses, and it just kind of sits in our body. Again, we're plants. We keep putting those things in there, then we're going to have issues. So yeah, I would say you can use the sea moss if you find some really strong herbs that you that can clean out the body. Then you can do that. I will say that there's one herbalist that I've used his products outside of Dr. Sebi. He was actually around the same time as Dr. Sebi, but of course Dr. Sebi was more popular, but he does have really good herbs and good strong herbs too, and it's D Herbs, the letter D herbs.com. But like I said, I'm sure there are a lot of herbalists out there. If there's one that or you want to use, then do that and use the sea moss as an aid to help you in your cleansing process, and then incorporate the sea moss on a daily, so that you keep that nutrition going through your body. Because then when you fortify yourself, then it's harder for germs to come up in there. You see what I mean? Disease starts in the colon. One of the things that the Tony Young said when she got my attention right away, she wrote the word death on the chalkboard and just turned around and looked at us. And we was like, okay. And then she circled the word EAT. And I was like, and she said, death starts with what you eat. She said, and death is 3/5 what you eat. It blew me away. She had my attention from then on. But again, it starts in your colon. That's where everything, the virus, all that starts up in your colon. That's why you got to keep things, even people who've had COVID, when you had COVID, and you might not have the symptoms or a cold or anything, when you've had the symptoms are gone, right? And you say, okay, I'm cured, I'm healed. But then about 2 or 3 months later down the line, then you back sick again. You're like, what happened? That's because you didn't clean it the rest of the way out your body. It just went and sat in a little dormant place and just waited till you thought you were done. And now it's coming right back up. Or either when the immune system is weak and it's not able to fight it as much, it just comes right back up. So that's why keeping your body irrigated is really important.
Okay, and I just want to say as a disclaimer, for some of you who hadn't heard of Dr. Sebi before or had heard of him but never listened to any of his videos, and if you're about to go do a deep dive on YouTube or anything like that, I would say Dr. Sebi is probably one of the higher levels in this journey to plant-based living. And so just keep that in mind. And he's going to talk about things like hybrid foods and perhaps that you shouldn't be eating collard greens and carrots and all of that.
It's hard.
Take what works for you and leave the rest, right? So we don't want you to become so overwhelmed that you go back to whatever you were doing before. So it's information, and take what works for you and leave what doesn't. So
And
the next
that's-
question, oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, that's good that you said that, because eating an alkaline diet is extremely difficult. And I'm not telling you that I eat an alkaline diet right now, but I have gone through phases where I was alkaline for a long time. But I do vegan. You know, I try to, because, you know, his is like certain spices you can't have, certain vegetables you can. You go like, what? I thought all vegetables was good, you know. But again, like she said, take the things that work for you. I believe that if you're still eating live, living things, live, living foods, you're going to find the results you need. And, you know, I help people sometimes that want to start on their vegan journey, and they say, well, how do I start? You know, I was the same way. She started me on that, and I just started eating nothing but salads. And then I called her about 2 weeks later. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep this up, because I miss food, I miss taste, I miss spice, I miss things, you know. And she's like, you're doing it all wrong. You have to do substitution. So there's a way, you know, to get you going if that is where you're leaning toward.
Okay, so some of the women in this meeting either have fibroids or know women in their life who have fibroids. And so can you explain what fibroids are? And the actual question is, are you saying that fibroids are hardened mucus? And then how does the CMOS connect with either preventing or dissolving fibroids?
So yes, hardened mucus. I actually had fibroids. And even though, you know, I always knew about Dr. Sebi, and, you know, like I said, it's been many years, I've gone through different phases of it. At the time when I had fibroids, I didn't even think about going back to taking the CMOS. I really didn't. And I had a complete hysterectomy. Okay. I let them talk me into that. And, you know, it's like, and then when I came back around to going back to what I know, I was just like, I could have just did the CMOS and just, oh my goodness, I didn't think about it like that. But yes, and again, I'm not a doctor. I always say that as a disclaimer as well. But my CMOS helps break up the mucus in your body. Fibroids are a type of tumor, which is a formulation of hardened mucus. And I say that, yes, it can help a great deal. In fact, I had a friend who took the green CMOS, and because she was dealing with that. And I just say, hey, if it's to try the CMOS and see how it works for you, because everybody's body is different. Everybody is at different stages of it, you know, in fibroids. But if it works for you, if this works for you, then isn't that better than getting your insides taken out? Because I really do regret the fact that I didn't go back to what I already knew, which was taking the CMOS daily. You know, I just let those doctors scare me. And, you know, so yeah, I would say that it's definitely worth trying, because it can definitely help with those fibroid tumors.
Okay, thank you. And so if people buy the dry CMOS from your website, or buy it in general, is there a how-to kind of directions that comes with it, or is there somewhere they would go to find out, or how would they know how to make it?
So there's not a how-to on my website, but you can always go, you know, YouTube, how to make CMOS. Like I said, everybody does it differently, but the main thing you're going to do is when you get it dried from me, you're just going to soak it overnight in spring water so that it hydrates. Because like I said, it comes dry like this, right? And you're just going to soak it in spring water. And I use spring water, not tap water, spring water. Okay. And let that soak overnight. And then you're going to get it like this. And once it's like this, then you put it in a blender and you add more spring water and blend it until it is as smooth the texture that you want. Everybody likes different textures. I like mine to be very smooth and creamy because I don't like any bits of CMOS in anything. I don't like the taste of bits. Like I put this in tea. You can put it in hot tea, which is really great before you go to bed. I had this green one. I would put it in some ginger tea because the immune system works best at night while you're sleeping, if you didn't know that. So I try to take things that I want to boost my immune system at night. before I go to sleep. So this green one I blend up, like I said, and I put the 2 tablespoons in some hot tea, stir it up, add some agave, or if you like honey, whichever one you like. And, yeah, you put that in your tea and drink it before you go to bed. Did that answer?
All right. Yes. So next question, what is the difference with the Irish sea moss when people see that package?
You mean if people sell it, or
Yes,
because I
so when
don't
they
sell?
see, it says,
Yeah, because
what
I
is
don't sell.
Irish sea moss? Mhm.
Yeah, I don't sell the Irish sea moss. Like I said, that's the Cronus crispus. Just make sure you're reading the pack. Now, you know, when you go to a store, if you're not getting it from me, but if you go to a health food store or something like that, we do ship nationwide, by the way. But if you go to a health food store and they say they selling sea moss or whatever, just read the package. If it says Cronus crispus, just know that this is what you're going to get. Now, the Cronus crispus does not blend the same way. It's not gonna get as smooth and a creamy consistency as the Guinness Graciliaria, you know, so just know that. But again, it's no difference in the nutritional value. It's just a matter, I guess, of preference. Now, I use this, the Cronus crispus, I use this in my tonics. I do a root tonic, you know, what I was talking about. So when I'm boiling root tonic, I use the Cronus crispus. Why? Because it doesn't break down and become really jelly, because I don't want my tonic to be really thick and jelly like that, right? So I don't use the Guinness Graciliaria for that reason. But this one, I'm just getting the nutrients out of it, but it's not turning into like a thick thing like this one does. So that's what I use this in my tonics. So I do use both, but this is why I use that, but not because this is better, just because it just does differently in what I'm making.
Okay. And how do the farmers prevent their waters from being polluted?
So I don't know if you go and you look at that, like I said, it's in the St. Lucia. St. Lucia is a very small island. Okay, they don't have a lot of things on that island that is polluting like that. Not only that, like I said, he's the head of agriculture. So everything that is where those waters, if you look at the documentary, you'll see that it's in a very small cove of where it is, and it's not where they have boats and big ships and oils and things like that. That's not even in that area. You'll be able to see. But he goes through the agriculture, the head of agriculture makes sure that, because this is their, basically like their natural national commodity. So it has to go through all of those processes to make sure that it doesn't have that.
And can sea moss reverse alopecia? And if so, do you have any success stories about that?
So I'm not sure actually if it can reverse alopecia, because to my understanding, alopecia, that the hair follicle is completely gone. So I can't say that it reverse, but I mean, I would love for somebody to find out. That would just basically be, like I said, this gold sea moss, you can massage. If I was to have that situation and I wanted to try, what I would do is what I was saying about this, the sea moss with olive oil, because olive oil is very healing for the body too, with olive oil, the sea moss, and the aloe vera, and just make this sort of like this conditioner where I would just massage and condition my scalp or the areas where it is, to see if it would produce something. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you that it will. And I wish that sea moss was just like the miracle, the miracle for everything. But only people can tell me if it worked for them. I can only tell you what things have worked for me. Julie sea moss has definitely changed my life. But only you can tell me if that has worked for you. But I would say, like I said, with the fibroids, it's worth finding out. It's worth trying to see, right? I have a friend right now who's dealing with breast cancer. And, every time she goes to the doctor, You know, they're saying, you know what, they've tried her on this and then she has some adverse reaction or this or that. And then they say, okay, well, let's try this. You know, let's try that. You know, I think we need to try this and I think we need to try that. And like I told, I said, you know what, they're what they call practicing medicine. They're practicing on you. So if they could try, why you can't try? You can try some natural things yourself. Try it for your own self, because that's all they're doing. They're not, if you're getting hit by a car or you need immediate emergency help, then yes, we need doctors. I'm not saying we don't need them, but long-term things like that, they really don't know. They're practicing, they're trying, they're throwing whatever against the wall and trying to see what stick. And if it stick, they go like, okay, see, we knew that's what it was. That's, you know, but in the meantime, they tried her on chemotherapy and she only tried it twice. And then that made her heart diminish. Then they were telling her, oh, you have a bad heart. Well, her heart was fine before the chemo. So now they're trying to give her all the heart medicines. So my point of that is just that if doctors can try, then why you can't try? You know, you owe it to yourself to say, okay, well, maybe there's something natural in the earth that can help with whatever it is that I'm trying. Because, you know, I mean, what do you have to lose in terms of that? Because if you're going to give all the power to them to try everything and you don't try, then at least you can take your own health into your own hands. So.
And so for people who perhaps have a health food store near their home and they've seen the sea moss in there and they're thinking about purchasing it, what should they look for on the package, or what should they ask the owner of the store about the sea moss before they purchase it?
You can definitely ask them if they know, you know, where it's sourced from. Where is this sea moss sourced from? If they know. Most of the time, they don't know if it's not their own, right? Just like we have vendors here. I'm in Dallas, Texas, by the way. I don't know if you guys, anybody is in Dallas. I'm in Dallas, Texas. And so we have vendors that have our sea moss. Okay. And so I, you know, educate them. I have my little plant lid and I educate them on where it comes from. And so when the sales people are talking to people about the sea moss, they are able to tell them, but every place may not have that. So unless they know for sure because of what they've been educated on from the person whose company it is, they really won't know. But you definitely want to look for the anything that's in a package at 7-Eleven is not the sea moss you want. I can tell you that. I saw that one time and I was like, what is this? Also too, now I showed you, I don't know if you can tell textures from this video, from here, but this is very hard, right? It's very wiry, right? Now I have seen sea moss that people are selling and it's very like, it's very like soft, and this is in the package. This is not after it's been hydrated. This is like, it's just kind of like, it's got a whole bunch of salts on it because when they pool it, and what pooling is that's what a lot of people overseas, you know, I don't want to, you know, say things that might seem prejudicial or anything, but they pool the sea moss. So they create the sea moss in a pool that is unnatural, not the ocean, not the earth. And they try to mimic the way it grows so that they can sell it, and they'll sell it for cheaper and you get more of it. And you think, oh, okay, well, this is cheaper, so I'll make more money. But the texture of it is not good. I mean, I wouldn't eat it, but yeah, I would just say sometimes it's kind of hard, you know, unless the people who are selling it to you are very versed in it and understand and know. It's kind of hard, but yeah.
Okay, and so are there any side effects?
We say,
Are there any side effects of sea moss or bladder wrap?
there can be. Now, again, everybody's body is different. Okay, we can eat the same things and we can have an adverse reaction about things. So with CMOS, if you have an overactive thyroid, I would tell you, you don't need to take the Bladder-Act one. Why? Because that one helps thyroid health. Or either I would tell you that if you took it, don't take the 2 tablespoons, only take maybe a teaspoon. And as it helps in the healing of the thyroid, then maybe you could increase it. But I have found people who have overactive thyroids or have an allergic reaction or allergic to iodine, sometimes CMOS can bother them in a way that maybe it's like any kind of thing that you would be allergic to, you know, like a itchy or things like that. So that's why you have to, you know, that's why I also said about in terms of the mixing, because then if you was trying one and, you know, okay, well, that one did this, then this one might do something different, or, you know, it just helps you to kind of know what they're doing for you. Also to see the kind of results that you may be getting. And it's better sometimes when you know that I've only been taking this one and I know. So even if you want to try all of them, I say take one, try it, you know, try it for a month, see how it does, you know, pay attention to your results, and then try the next one. Same thing, try the next one, same thing. And then you'll find which one you like the most. Which one is actually doing what it is you want it to do the most. And then that's the one you can stick with. Now, me personally, I've used all of them at different times for different things. The one that I tend to go to the most, the green. This is the one that I tend to go to the most because, again, it's detoxifying, it's healing. We always want to detoxify. We always want that oxygen. Like I said, as women, we always going through a process of purification, and it's just really good. So that's the one that I tend to go to the most, but I have done all of them, used all of them at different times.
And do you, how long does CMOS last in the jar?
Yes, CMOS can last, once it's blended and in the refrigerator, it can last up to 6 weeks in the refrigerator. It can last up to 3 months in the freezer. You can freeze it. It can last up to 3 months, 3 to 6 months in the freezer, but 6 weeks definitely in the refrigerator.
And do you offer any recipes that include the different types of CMOS, moringa, and Bladder-Act?
Recipes. So I definitely need to do better than that. I did start a YouTube channel, _C_Moss_queen, where I am supposed to be putting recipes. There's like 1 or 2 videos up. Chef Babette is also really good at doing recipes. So, please follow her if you don't follow her already. She does recipes with, she makes different smoothies. She makes salad dressings. She makes different things, but I do plan to be better at that and posting actual recipes for you to do different things. Because like I said, I do cook with it. I bake with it. I eat it, and taking it straight is actually really good too, because when we put it in smoothies or we make things, sometimes we don't always eat all of it. We might leave a little corner or something in there, and guess what? That's a little bit of vitamins, a little bit of minerals you might want to keep. So I just usually just take it straight, chase it with some juice or water, and that way I know I got all those vitamins and minerals in my body. But as far as the recipes, I definitely will do better with that. But I always say, if all else fails, take it straight. Like I said, chase it with the juice or make a smoothie. And that's literally just putting some fruit in a blender, adding the sea moss, adding you some non-dairy milk, or, milk if you drink milk, a little agave, blend it up and drink it. And so I would say that too. People ask me about the fruity tooty sea mosses. I don't do the fruity tooty stuff because when they're shipping that, and if it's that sweet, that means that they've put some sort of artificial things in there, you know, sweeteners or preservatives. And to me, that defeats the purpose. So mine tend to deal with more of the medicinal part of the sea moss. I'm interested in healing people. I'm not interested in adding the sugars and things like that just to make it taste good, because you can do that on your own. And at least you know you put in some mangoes, you put in some honey, you know what you put in it, just the same way we were talking about growing your own food. You know what you put in it, so you know what's coming into your body.
Is the algae that is overrunning the island of Barbados the same as sea moss?
Ooh, I don't know. I wish I could say I've been to Barbados before. I've not been to Barbados. You know, I don't know at all. I don't know what that is.
Do you add black pepper to the turmeric sea moss? The person says they understand that turmeric and black pepper go together.
Yes, actually, the ingredients on my turmeric sea moss, I use it's not the actual black pepper that you're used to seeing the black part. It's actually the pepperine. It's the organic pepperine that's the component that's in black pepper that I use in this. So it's getting what you need, but not the actual black pepper to see black specks all in it. It's called
Okay.
pepperine.
So this person may have come late. So the question is, can you share your age? You look very youthful and beautiful.
Thank you. God keep me preserved. Hallelujah. I am 53. Yeah.
Everyone got that?
Huh?
The black is not cracking
The black
because
is
of the
not
sea
cracked.
moss.
But you know what is I say is also, you know, what I'm putting in my body, you know, all these things that I'm telling you, you all can do the same thing. Even at whatever age you are, you can start where you are. You don't have to feel like, oh man, I should have started way back then. No, you can start where you are, because, you know, I get people tell me, especially when I'm talking about vegan on meat, they be like, okay, you're gonna be all that healthy stuff and then get hit by a bus. Or you're gonna do all of that healthy stuff and then what? Well, I always say this, we all have an appointed time. Okay, there is no way around that. God is in control of that. I just say, how do you want to spend your time? Do you want to spend your time being out in the world, doing things, traveling, playing with your grandkids or your family or your children and feeling good? Or do you want to be somewhere on a couch looking outside, wishing you could do the different things because you didn't take care of your body before then? So I just say it's all about how you want to spend your time. My mom's 80 years old. She's a jitterbug, okay? She is a jitterbug. She takes the purple sea moss, by the way, and she does have a thyroid issue, and this helps her thyroid stay under control.
Yeah. If you have a shellfish allergy, should you avoid any of these products?
So I get asked that actually quite often, and it's kind of hard to answer because, again, I don't want to say yes, and then you take it and you be like, oh, my whole face blew up. I don't want to do that. But I will say this, it's not seafood. It's from the sea. So it just depends on if your actual allergy is with crab or shrimp, or is it with seawater? So that's the thing. I don't know, because I don't have a shellfish allergy, so I don't know. But this is not any kind of crabs, or it's no shellfish in this. It's just from the sea. So I guess it was just a matter of your own self. And, you know, you can always try it and just do a little bit just to kind of test it and see, you know, like anything, even like products that you put on your skin, you know, you try it and you just kind of like wait a few days just to see if you have any adverse reaction. If you don't, then you know you're all good.
Great. Which sea moss is beneficial for breast cancer survivors?
So, like I said, I was talking about my friend who is dealing with that, and the turmeric blend is the one that I always have her take because of the fact of the inflammation, right? Helps with that. the sea moss in general is going to still help with cell production. I would say probably the turmeric and the bladderwrack. So it's just going to depend on which one you like the most. But this is the one that because the turmeric is really good for fighting cancer. It really is. So this is the one that I always take to her house for her to take, is the turmeric one. You know, if I'm being honest, this is the one that I take the most to her, but they both can help with that for sure. And the main thing that, you know, after cancer, again, cancer, you know, even when I tell her, I mean, your body has gone through a great deal to try to rid itself of that. And if you've now in remission, then that's, praise God for that. That is a beautiful thing. I know one thing about cancer is that it loves sugar. It loves it. It thrives on sugar. And so the less sugar you can put in your diet, the better. Okay. And keeping that mucus and those things from forming up in your body is also good. It's kind of like, you know, I know some of the best things in life are not good for us, and I hate it. I always say, why can't broccoli and kale be like not good for you? You know, I could stay away from that if I just wanted to, you know, but no, it's the sweets, it's the ice cream, it's the pizzas, it's the fresh baked goods. Those are all of the things that, you know, we have to stay away from, but those are the good things that are so good to us. But staying away from that and just try to find balance, because, you know, nobody's 100%. I'm definitely not 100% all the time. Try to keep a balance. You know, I always say, even in my daily, I try to do at least, I do the 80-20 rule. I try to do at least 80% fruits and vegetables that are either cooked or raw. And then the other 20% will be something processed probably, or something that might be sweet or something like that. But I feel like if I can keep that 80-20, then I keep myself in a good balance where I can still enjoy life too. Because, you know, those things are enjoyable. Let's just be real. You know?
So one question is, for people who are interested in learning more about Tony Young, is she on YouTube? Does she have a book?
You know what? And I will say this, if you find her, please let me know. I have been searching for this woman for years. Now, even when I met her, she was kind of lived off the grid, like her whole family. They lived on land with no electric, they made everything. So she was, I mean, I've been looking for her because I wanted to let her know how much she has changed my life. Truly, like, I feel like if I didn't meet that woman, I don't even know where I would be at this point, because at that point in my life, I needed that so much. But no, I don't know where she is.
Okay.
I really wish I did. Huh?
Does CMOS impact any medications?
I guess it could. Now, mind you, I always tell everybody, you know, you want to check with your doctor, because that's what I have to do. Okay, because I don't want to, you know, legally, you don't want to do anything like that. But because they'll tell you all the time, oh yeah, don't take the CMOS because it'll interact with this or interact with that. That's because they really would rather you just take the medicine. Again, that's something that you would have to see for yourself. And if you are taking medication, I always tell people to start out small and work your way up, to make sure that if you are experiencing anything, you have time to stop, you know, if it is doing something. So just take it slow. You know, if the recommended dosage for me is 2 tablespoons a day, if you are taking some medication that you want to continue to take, because, you know, it just depends. Now, if you're trying to take the medication, but you want to wean off the medication so that you can be more natural, then that's one thing. If you want to continue to take the medication, I would say just take the CMOS in lower dosages and build up. So if I would start with just a teaspoon a day. Okay. And then see how I feel. You know, again, you are your best advocate in that respect, because you're going to know how you feel. You're going to know if I'm got more energy, or I'm feeling this, or something ain't right. You know, we can't tell you, you know. And so with that, if you build it up, then you'll be fine. But if you find that there is an issue, then I say stop. Because again, I can't tell you one way or the other because I'm not monitoring your health or know your health or healing journey. But that's the only thing that I can say to you about that.
And if you're making a smoothie with the sea moss or putting it in the blender, can you put the dry sea moss in the blender in a smoothie? That's the first question. The second question is, do you have to cut it up? So you're already saying no, that you can't put it in the blender, so you're not cutting it up either.
Yeah. So, well, I say if it's already, been hydrated, I guess you could, but I would probably say if you don't want the little chunks, because it takes a while for it to blend to be smooth. So I would do the blending and get it smooth first, and then dip off of that and put it in your smoothie. If you put this in the smoothie with your, if you put this in the smoothie with everything else, it'll blend, but you still might have these little pieces of chunks, and you already got the fruit and everything in there. So that might not be good to keep blending and blending and blending and blending and blending with that. So I tend to blend this first, and you definitely don't want to put the dry sea moss in there, because it has to go through a hydration process, softened up enough, and then blend it. So don't put a dry piece of sea moss in your smoothie, because that will not be good at all.
So for people who want to buy bladderwrack, what should they look for?
Just the bladderwrack by itself, or the mix?
Yes.
So I use a powder. I mean, bladderwrack, there's places that probably, I mean, if they sell it, I mean, it's actually even on Amazon. I mean, again, I don't know where that's sourced from. I don't know the company. So I would just say, make sure you're reading and making sure that it says organic, and not just, just read those different stores and stuff. But bladderwrack, I believe, can come in like flakes, little dried flakes, and it also comes in powder. I use a powder. So it's the bladderwrack that's been blended down into a soft powder, and then I add that to my already blended sea moss, and when it blends together, then I have my sea moss with bladderwrack. And of course, you're adding water throughout that time.
Because of the salt seawater, does it affect high blood pressure?
No, actually, sea moss is really good for help regulating high blood pressure. So no, it does not. It's not like you're tasting, it's not this doesn't taste salty, if that, and that's also too another reason why you're soaking it, even if there is some sea salt on it, salt from the sea when you get it, that's why you're soaking it in the spring water, okay? And then once you soak it and you blend it, it's not going to taste salty at all. It's not going to have any kind of salt taste, but it does help with regulating high blood pressure.
And what do you think about taking sea moss pills or bladderwrack pills?
So I know that is a thing that people do. And, if that's what you feel like you would prefer to do that, that's fine. Me personally, I like knowing exactly what it looks like, where it came from, and where it's going in my body. When things are in capsules, I don't know what else is in those powders. When things are in capsules, I don't know what those capsules are made of, so that's just me. But it doesn't mean that it's completely bad. Because there are some companies that have, a way that they dry the sea moss and they put it in there. I would just make sure you're reading and make sure it's organic, making sure you find out what the capsules are made of, making sure that there's no other fillers or things that they're putting in it. That's what I would do. But
what do you think about? What do you think about taking ground seeds with sea moss, like apricot seeds?
Ground seeds with, you mean grind it all the way up into the powder?
Yeah, ground seeds.
Putting that. Oh yeah. I mean, you can add whatever you want to, if you want to make that a drink or something like that, I would. it's just apricots, but apricots are also very good for cancer prevention and also fighting cancer too. I know that. But if you can get those really hard seeds ground up and you just want to put it in your smoothie and it's not like, hard or anything like that, then yeah, you do that.
And how long should you keep moringa?
You mean
So is keeping it for a year too long?
the
The
powder?
powder.
Oh,
Yes.
no. I mean, it doesn't have any expiration date for me. I mean, I use it and I've had some moringa a long time and the powder is fine. The best thing is to make sure that when you're going in to dip it, that you're not contaminated with things, So if you're making a smoothie and how you have some on the spoon and you dip it into the powder, then you're going to introduce other bacteria to it. That's what I would say. Don't do that. I say that the same about my sea moss. Like, don't double dip. Like, always use a clean, dry spoon, because you don't want to like take it, in your mouth. And so now you have saliva and bacteria, and then you stick it into the jar, right? Into the thing, because again, you're introducing other contaminants to it that can sometimes cut the shelf life. So that's what I would say about moringa as well. Don't, just make sure whatever you're using is a dry thing and it's not have other contaminants in it. But no, I keep mine for a long time.
And is dulse a type of sea moss?
Both.
D-U-L-S-E. D-U-L-S-E.
Oh, D-U-L-S-E. It's a type of, I don't know if it's a type of sea moss, but it's definitely a type of seaweed from the ocean. It's not necessarily a sea moss, but it is something just like just like a regular seaweed or spirulina or dulse. Those things are those kind of looks a little bit like the Cronus crispus a little bit. It's just more minerals and things from the ocean that you can put in the things that have a lot of nutrients that you want to use. Again, like I said, there are so many. God has made so many things in the earth that can help with things. It's just a matter of what you find that works best for you. But I don't know if it's a type of sea moss, but it's definitely from the sea, and it's not a complete superfood. That's the other part of that. I always make sure people understand that the sea moss is a complete superfood. When it's not complete and it is, that means that you still need other things to make it complete. You need other vitamins and minerals that you need to take to make it complete. You can't just live on it and that's it. No, you got to have other things, but you can live on sea moss.
Okay. And so if someone is still eating the standard American diet and fried foods and sugar and all of that, should they still purchase the sea moss now, or should they try to clean up their diet before adding the sea moss?
That's a tricky question. And, people have said that. I'm laughing because I remember this guy, he's my, yeah, let me take this and I'm gonna add it with some bacon and some eggs. So yeah, I mean, I would say you can take it, anything that starts your health journey, or you can start being healthy at any point. That's good to start, but just try to be inspired, and hopefully you will, to just start. It might not be overnight, because again, when I started, I couldn't do it overnight, but just try to incorporate less things that aren't good for you, and replacing them with more good things until you get to a place where you have more good things than bad things. So this is really up to you. I always say a good cleanse can help you get on track right away. Just doing a good clean out. And then after you do that good clean out, then it's like, okay, now everything I put in my body now is going to be good.
Okay, excellent. And we can end on that message. Khadijah, there is a discount code that you are offering to those who are in attendance this evening. So I did send it out, link to the website
Yes.
to purchase these items. And then there's a 20% discount code as well for any of the items.
Heart 20. Heart20 is the discount code. And of course, I just wanted to offer that to you guys. If there is, if you would like to try any of the products, that's fine. The main thing that I wanted to do today is to hopefully inspire someone like I was inspired on my healing journey, and hopefully that I offered information that is going to help you, and that you'll be telling me, hey, I listen to you, and next thing you know, I started this and I changed, and the CMOS did this and CMOS did that. So that's really what's my goal today. If I sell some products, that's great, but that's not the goal. The goal is to hopefully that you learn something today that's going to help you.
Okay, well, I have to tell them what you said. I shared with Khadijah that we will, whether you all want to or not, we'll be going 30 days raw after Labor Day, at least 30 days, I'm thinking maybe 60 days raw, or maybe up to Thanksgiving. I told her that we'll be doing something regarding going fully raw. And then
Move it back.
But then she said, do you want me to invite Chef Babette to kick off the journey for you guys? So I'm putting it out there right now. That was offered.
Yes, I will definitely speak to her, because she is a raw food vegan chef, right? So I mean, what better person that she's done some of these on her site before, where she's kicked it off and did that. So I'll see if she want to come on with me, and we can I'll do that together, because I mean, I don't eat raw all the time. I don't have her, she is only raw. I don't do the only raw, but I have done it at different points. And so, like I said, anytime that I can get in on there and just clean out and do better, I'm all for it.
Okay, so I don't know some of these reactions in the chat. We are going raw for HeartSmarts lifestyle people in September after Labor Day. But anyway, so just a quick announcement for those in the HeartSmarts program, please complete your post assessments this week. We have one more of these sessions next Wednesday, and then our final finale meeting will be the Monday after, July 31st. So we kind of have 2 weeks off, but we're never off, but use the time this week to do your post assessment. And then next week, we have one more of these meetings.
I just love this whole thing, and look how many people are here. That's so great.
Well, you're always welcome to join.
Listen, I mean, I probably needed to connect with a community like this. I just think this is so good, because again, half of the battle is knowledge, and once you know certain things, then you can make a change in anything, and if we're already, you say black don't crack, but we already have the ability to live long if we just put the right things in our body. And you got Dr. Tettey here just bringing all these good people and things to you guys. So that, I mean, I love it. I think this is awesome.
Well, thank you. And so with that being said, you, Khadijah, all the prayer warriors on the meeting tonight, I have a vision for a HeartSmarts farm on somebody's rooftop or somebody's something. So if you have it, if you're thinking you have the space, and Yura's presentation kind of touched something in you, definitely let me know. Think about it. There are about 135 people at the highest on this meeting. If each of us contributed a little something, we could make that $20,000, right? For the year. But just an idea of a HeartSmarts farm in every state that has HeartSmarts members, I think that would be really cool. Rooftop farm. So
awesome.
Putting it out there, and so we'll see if it happens. All right, so Miss Khadijah, thank you so much for your time this evening.
So much for having me.
And like I said, just randomly asked you on Instagram, and you've just been a pleasure to work with, and I hope we can do more with you. Do you want to share some of the other possible topics that you have, and then the participants can tell me what you're interested in?
Yes, because like I said, I get people to ask me to speak on things, but that's what I said, this is motivating me to get, do that a lot more. But I was just talking about herbs good for the heart, different herbs that are really good for, since this is about HeartSmart, right? Because like I said, I do have knowledge about herbs, but it's so vast with so many different ones. It's hard to just talk about all of them. You would have to talk about specific ones, but herbs good for the heart is some topics. Healing is a mindset, because a lot of people don't understand that even when you start a healing journey, you have to first decide. I mean, you really have to train your mind to heal, and the body will follow. Benefits of vegan diet and heart health. That's another topic. Turmeric sea moss and combating inflammation. That by itself is a whole lot of things. Fibromyalgia people deal with, that's also inflammation, and endometriosis is also things with inflammation that the turmeric sea moss helps with. Green sea moss with moringa, the women's formula, that's a whole thing in itself, just talking about the different things that it can help with. And I say women's formula, but I do have men that take that green one a lot too. So I know there's some fellas on here, just know you are not left out. I have had men contact me like, look, I need some more of that green stuff. I don't know what. So it's not just for women, but those are just some topics. And of course, if anybody have any other ideas for topics that they would like me to touch on, I would love to. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is a part of my divine purpose. So I'm definitely happy to do it. And I was so happy that she came in my DM. I was like, yes, I want to talk. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. And so the last question, what is your website and what is your Instagram?
Yes, the website is the Healing Network for Natural Medicine.com. And you have to say for natural medicine, because there's a healing network that's not me. The Healing Network for Natural Medicine.com. And on Instagram, we are at Healing Network Natural on Instagram. We do have Facebook page, although I don't keep it up to date as much, but on Facebook is Foods That Heal Naturally. And then, like I said, I started the YouTube channel, which is supposed to be where I do videos. So hopefully if you guys follow me, it'll motivate me to keep doing some more recipe videos. But that one is at the _C _moss _queen on YouTube.
Awesome. And for those of you who are asking for the video, this will be posted on the HeartSmarts YouTube page by the end of this week. And all of the videos from this series are already there, the first 4. And other videos from our February Heart Month and everything else is on the HeartSmarts YouTube page. And so this video will be there by the end of this week. And so in closing, Khadijah, are there 3 main points that you want us to take away, not necessarily from this evening, but in general, as people go into the rest of the week and month and year on their wellness journey?
I would just say, again, always think to return to the earth first. There's many of things that are already there that God has put in the earth for healing. Turn to that first. Like I said, healing is a mindset. Just decide. No matter where you are, no matter how old you are, you can decide to change your way of life. And that's what I would also say too. Don't think of it as a diet, because the very time when we say diet, I don't know, something about in the brain, it makes us want the very thing that we're supposed to be staying away from. So what I did the most when I was changing over into being non-meat is I just kept saying, this is my new way of life. And so with that, it just landed better inside my subconscious. And so everything was a new way of life. And then the last thing, and I'll probably say more than 3, is forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, because guess what? Monday will always be there. And whatever you might have did, just say, okay, well, and this is what I do. If I had a day that wasn't so good on track, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm getting back on it on Monday. Start on Monday.
Thank you so much. This was amazing. And we look forward to having you back again. And yes. Everyone, let us know if you get the sea moss, if you try it, what your thoughts are, any
I would love to hear your feedback for sure.
That you want to share. And so I'm just
And
gonna ask
check
you
out
all.
the
Go ahead.
video, The Day in the Life of a Sea Moss Farmer on YouTube, because
Yeah.
when you see the whole thing and just see how the whole process is, you understand that it's very interesting, and you can see that it's just like the micro habitat. They're growing it, and you can see it, and that's what you're going to be taking into your body. So
Excellent. So I will send all of these links out in a follow-up. If you didn't officially register for this series, please do, so that you can get the links for everything. So as always, the kitchen is closed, the cabinets are closed, the pantry is closed. So have some water and go to bed. Thank you all for joining this evening. We have one more next week, and then we are all set. So you all can come off mute and share any thanks that you have with Miss Khadijah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
thank
Khadijah.
you guys.
Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you.
Guys, have a good night.
Good ministry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Information.
Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you so much.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Dr. Tettey.
Thank you, Dr. Tettey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you
I'm
for
glad
the
you enjoyed
wake-up
it.
call. Yes.
Bye-bye.